Welcome to today's episode of Sassy Detectives. We're your hosts, Tori
and Rae.
We're here to talk about anything and everything Nancy Drew, and today we'll be talking about the pilot episode of the unaired 2016 Drew show. Roll the intro. Okay, so
this episode is, oh my god.
Yeah, so this was a requested episode. Yeah, it's something. But this was a requested episode, so thank you for the request. I don't remember who requested it. I'm sorry, but thank you for requesting it, and we're going to talk about it. So we found this pilot, and we watched it, and it's, 42 minutes, and it sure is something. How should we tackle this?
Well, we should probably do a content warning first, that
Okay.
It discusses themes of suicide and depression and addiction and stuff.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so there's that. But basically, it just jumps right off the bat. Oh my god, I shouldn't have phrased it like that. Because the very first scene is someone jumping off of a building.
Yeah.
And you want to know who it is?
It's didn't know.
It's freaking Bess!
I know. Wait, okay, so let's pause there for a second, real quick. So we see that, but we don't know who it is at first. And then it goes into, the jaunty intro of Nancy Drew. And you're like, what mood is this show
Yeah, exactly.
For? Because now we're jaunty Nancy Drew, and she's an Uber driver in New York City. And she is driving this lady in her Uber, and she, clocks her because, she's Nancy Drew, and she's just so observant. And she learns that this lady's, going to a job interview, but she's, super nervous because she spilled the thing and blah, 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 blah. And she... Anyway, and I like that sort of intro to the character of Nancy. However, that coming right after this dark scene, it really is a very confusing start. Because you're like, I don't know how to feel about this show. How am I supposed to feel? They're leaving it very confusing.
Yeah,
so,
it was, yeah.
And then, basically, you find out that Nancy is grieving the death of Bess. And we don't understand why Bess has made the decision she's made, to leave the world behind. And also, Nancy is kind of estranged from, every other relationship, familial, friendly, romantic, that is established of the character of Nancy Drew as we would typically, as Nancy Drew fans, know. So her relationship with her dad is kind of strained. Her relationship with George, she's basically ghosted George since Bess's death. She has broken up with Ned. They're not together anymore. So it's the character of Nancy seems very
yeah, for me, I feel like it would have been better as a TV show if it hadn't been Nancy Drew themed and it had just been an original story.
Yeah.
Because the only thing Nancy Drew about this is the fact that there's a mystery in their names.
Yeah. So,
and also that her dad is a rich lawyer, that too.
I did think it was interesting that it's revealed that Nancy is not Carson's birth daughter. They're not biologically related. There's that whole
that is
scene
also
with the gotcha day, and I was like, gotcha day? Mm-hmm. What is that?
Yeah.
And, I know what the term gotcha day, but I was like, why would Nancy have that? Not realizing that they included that to be, a part of the character, is that Carson is not Nancy's birth father, he's her adoptive father, which, father is father, I'm not trying to say, but it's just, a strange thing to add in that doesn't seem to add to, the plot,
I will say, though, this is not the first time that plot, that trope has happened in Nancy Drew content.
Really?
I will say that. What
if
you know, you know.
What other Nancy content has had adopted Nancy?
I don't want to spoil it, but it is a Nancy Drew content thing. I'll let you know later.
I'm so curious. Anyway. Okay, that's fine.
I'll text it to you. Yeah.
Okay. So, also, I did think it was funny that Carson is bald like a golf ball. I just needed to say that.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we go on, we find out that Nancy and George worked together on the police force. They were both detectives, and Nancy stepped away when Bess died, but George is still working as a detective. And then George has been trying to get Nancy to come back, and they kind of reconnect a little bit, and their goal here is to find out, like, what really happened to Bess, because none of them really buy that she's actually
suicidal.
Like that she was suicidal, but that something happened to her. It was a targeted attack, whatever, however and whatever you want to classify it as. They think that her death was purposeful, not from herself. So basically they start diving into Bess's computer and her apartment and things like that, and they find that she was on dating apps. Oh, well, a very weird, before that happens, Nancy runs into Ned on the street, and out of the blue, he just sort of mentions...
crazy.
It's so weird. He just mentions to Nancy that before Bess died, she asked him if he would be a sperm donor so that she could get pregnant and have a baby, because that's what she wanted. And that is a really weird thing to ask your best friend's boyfriend, because apparently...
It really is!
Apparently Nancy and Ned were together when Bess asked this of Ned. And nobody told Nancy, which...
Nobody told Nancy! That's crazy!
Until right now, when Bess is dead and Nancy is grieving and broken up with Ned. It's just all of the
insane.
Character dynamics are so weird. They're just so weird. So anyway, so they start going into her stuff, and they find out that she's been on dating apps. And so they're like, okay, let's track down all of these men that Bess has had communications with and see if anybody knows anything about what happened to her. So, they start going, they meet all these dudes at a bar or whatever, and they're asking really invasive questions, which I guess is kind of on brand for Nancy. At least, this seems organically Nancy, but they're asking all these invasive questions to men the moment they sit down at the bar. And then, there's this, guy that comes in at the end, and he's like, yeah, I liked Bess, we hung out a lot, and, I felt like we were really getting to know each other, and, we were getting close, and I really liked her, and then she just ghosted, and, I don't know where she is, do you know where she is? And they tell him... Huh?
I mean, we do know where she is.
Right. But, so Nancy and George tell this guy that Bess had passed. And dude gets, really upset. So it's okay, obviously this guy, really did care about Bess. But then he doesn't show up, at all again in the whole episode.
They just drop him.
So I was like, okay, well, this seems like a very significant point. And then it never comes up. So I was like, okay, well, that's a really weird plot line to just kind of leave hanging. And I get it, it's just the first episode of a show, so maybe there were plans to bring him back later on. But then you find out that Bess was pregnant. And so both Nancy and George are like, yeah, there's absolutely no way that she would have done this. All she wanted was to be a mom, and, if she knew that she was pregnant, there's no way that she would have done this. It's just not her. It's not Bess. So then I'm like, okay, another new thing. So we've already had all of these weird plot twists up to this point, and we're only
oh my god,
halfway through the episode, maybe. And then you find out from the neighbor in Bess's apartment complex. She, like, shows up with the police when Nancy and George are in the apartment. And she was like, oh, thank goodness, it's you guys. I thought, you guys were the strangers that I've been seeing come, in and out of the apartment when Bess was here. And they're like, what are you talking about? And then the neighbor's like, Bess was stealing drugs. And you're like, what? What are you talking about?
Crazy!
So now you're like, so Bess was a pregnant drug dealer who died? What is this universe here?
It gets crazier.
And then it gets crazier. And so you're like, okay, what's going on? And so then they're like, well, let's look at the security footage in the hallway of the apartment complex. And they find this guy who came to Bess's apartment, and he, like, knocked. And, of course, nobody came to the door. So after a while, he just turns and leaves. So Nancy tracks him down at his university. I guess he's a college dude or whatever. And she, like, confronts him, and she's like, hey, just so you know, like, how did you know Bess? And he's like, oh, I didn't know her, but I was referred to her. And Nancy's like, okay, well, like, was she dealing drugs? Like, what was it? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I came to her because I was told that she could help. She's been paying for people to go to rehab. And then you're like, huh? So he, like, explains that she didn't deal drugs. She helped people who struggled with addiction get into rehab by paying their way. And then Nancy and George are like, where'd she get all that money? Because she just has a pickle shop. A pickle shop. This lady sells pickles. How does she have money to send people to rehab like that? Especially people she doesn't even know.
That has gotta be the most expensive pickles. Like, what?
Right. So everything's just very confusing. So then Nancy's like,
Listen, if I buy pickles that are so expensive that she can send random people to rehab, I had better get the pickle priest treatment, okay?
Okay, that's very true.
I'd better have the blessing of the pickle priest, okay? Bless me with these pickles, okay?
So true. So true.
So true.
So then we get to this point where Nancy's like, oh man, everything sucks. I just want to go home for a minute. So she goes home to River Heights. Oh, also, this is why she goes home to River Heights, actually. Because George finds a sticky note in Bess's apartment, and it has an address on it. But the address is, like, in the middle of the Hudson River or something like that. And so they're like, this is not a real address. And then Nancy puts it together that, oh, well, we're not from here. We're from River Heights. So maybe this is an address in River Heights. And it is. Mm-hmm. And it's like a retail space or something, or a restaurant space that apparently Bess had been looking at or rented or something like that. She had plans to, like, open a business in River Heights. So while Nancy's in River Heights, she goes by her dad's house and talks to Hannah, who is apparently Carson's secretary at work. Like, she doesn't already do enough, I guess.
Yeah.
And then...
Listen, she's getting that bag.
Uh-huh. And then
Get
Carson comes home, and Nancy puts, like, things together based on, like, things she saw in the house, like there was no lunch meat or blah, 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 blah. And then Carson apparently has, like, a girlfriend, and then right before the girlfriend arrives, Nancy's like, is she pregnant? And then she, like, walks in, and she's pregnant. So that was a weird thing that I didn't understand how it connected to anything else in this entire episode. Because what does it matter that Carson's girlfriend is pregnant, other than the fact that, like, I guess it could change the Drew family dynamic, but Nancy already doesn't live in River Heights anyway, so I don't know. That was just a very odd part, and I was like, I don't understand the significance of this or why this needed to be written in, but okay. So then, Nancy's like, well, I don't know what to do. And then she has this brain blast, I guess, like Jimmy Neutron. And she calls George, and she's like, meet me at the pickle plant. We gotta go to the pickle plant, dude. And so they show up at the pickle plant. And Nancy's like, Oh, right, because there's this weird subplot.
Yeah,
I forgot about the
of,
subplot.
like,
Let me back up a
her
little bit.
having
There's
like
this-
business partners.
Yeah.
She has like these business partners with the pickle thing.
Yeah. So there's these business partners that Bess had at the pickle place, and Nancy's like hanging out with the guy who's part of like the partner. There's like two partners. There's like a lady and a dude. And they're like hanging out or whatever, and things are getting a little spicy between them, you know? And they're both getting pretty drunk, and he says some weird things that kind of makes Nancy's like, you know, antenna go up. Mm-hmm. And then she sees in his kitchen drawer a drawing that matches the imprint of the ecstasy pill that college student had. Mm-hmm. So Nancy's like, oh, dang. And so that's when she calls George, and she's like, you gotta meet me at the pickle plant. So George shows up at the pickle plant, and they're in the pickle plant, and it's dark. And Nancy's like, remember when we came through the pickle plant earlier? And I just like saying pickle plant. I'm sorry.
Pickle plant. Pickle plant.
Yeah. So they're going through the pickle plant, and Nancy's like, remember when we were here earlier and we saw like all of the things that they used to make pickles? Well, did you know that these things that they used to make pickles also are used to make ecstasy or whatever? I think it's ecstasy. I don't know.
I think it was too.
I'm not like, super well versed, so you know.
I don't know a ton about drugs except for
same.
like certain. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like ibuprofen might be the thing that I'm the most familiar with. I don't know. So,
Sorry.
But Nancy's like, all of these things that make pickles also make ecstasy. So there's obviously maybe something weird going on. And I'm pretty sure this guy is making ecstasy. And I think that Bess found out about it. And now, he blackmailed or threatened or hurt Bess because she knew, and maybe that's why she had all that money, because he was paying her off to stay quiet. And so her brain's like going like a bagillion miles an hour, and George is literally like, you are going too fast, like I cannot follow you. And Nancy's like, trust. And then she's like, she looks at the picture of Bess or whatever on the wall, and she's like, something that Bess had said or whatever was like directed her to like behind the picture or whatever. And then she finds a secret passage, because of course the pickle plant.
They don't say that. They say it's a hidden staircase.
Yeah, it's a hidden staircase. Because this is Nancy Drew.
They have to keep reminding you, because otherwise you wouldn't know.
Yep. So by this time, we're probably like 35 minutes into this 40 or 42 minute episode, okay? So like all of these, that's a lot of plot twists for like one episode. So now we've got like 7 minutes left of this episode. And once we walk through the hidden passageway, there is a confrontation where it's both of the partners, not just the dude. And Nancy's like, you know, I know how you did it, and blah, 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 something about a bike, and your bike seat wasn't wet, or your bike seat was wet, even though it was rain, or even though you said you rode it, or blah, 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 blah. And the whole confrontation is over in like 2 minutes. And I was like, oh, very anticlimactic, if you ask me. I felt like, because everything else in the episode so far had been so dramatic, that by the time we got to this like confrontation and arrest, it was so kind of lame. I don't know. How did you feel?
I was just, and there wasn't a lot like leading up to it.
No, not really.
You know, like not to the actual culprit. It was mostly just a series of red herrings. Just go.
Yeah.
And like there wasn't any, and there wasn't like a backlog of clues. It was just like, oh, we're gonna look into this thing. Oh, and now we have a different thing. We're gonna completely ignore everything now and go into this thing.
Yep.
And then this thing, and and it was like,
it just felt like
it was a lot.
3/4 of this episode was just kind of unnecessary fluff. And I understand that, like, in a real world situation, you do have to kind of, like, follow leads that dead end and be like, okay, well, you know, that didn't work out. Like, so I understand that. But what happened was because the confrontation happened so late, it had to be wrapped up so quickly that it really was just
And then, yeah, and then at the end, like right after they solve the mystery, it flashes forward to George's wedding.
Yeah, it's very weird. And Nancy's being kind of like gloomy. And then who is that weirdo that like walks up to her or whatever at the end? Who is that?
I don't remember.
Is it like the police chief or something?
Somebody she worked with at the police station, I guess. But like, I don't,
you can
I don't
come back
remember.
to the force or whatever.
Yeah. And then they all do the electric slide.
Yeah. And then at the very, very, very end, there's a cliffhanger, which I assume would have been the launch pad into more episodes had they aired more. But it's so weird because there's this really kind of, in my opinion, it was kind of an unimportant B-plot. And it was that when Bess first died, Nancy fought really hard in the investigation to get this one guy behind bars because she was convinced he had done it or whatever. She had like one piece of evidence or something that pointed to him and basically like ruined this guy's life. And then she came back and was like, I think I got the wrong guy, blah, 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 blah. So that's kind of like her launch pad into even investigating
and
again.
Ned also wrote an article about how bad of a cop she was about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy again.
I know. So, but like there's this really weird thing where he's like, she like apologizes to him, this guy, and she's like, you know, I'm really sorry. Like, I hope that you can get your life back and that your family will accept you again and that you'll get your business back and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, thank you so much. Like, that really means a lot. And then there's this, literally, it's like the last scene of the episode where he has this weird binder of like victims or something that he's photographed. And then you're like, well, so you're telling me that everything Nancy undid that she did wrongly was actually right, and so now she's gonna have to do it all over again? I was like, that's so frustrating.
It is like, I understand why this was unaired.
Yeah. Why
this pilot never took off.
Yeah. So that's the episode. And I mean, we could have spent more time talking about like scene to scene to scene, but I don't think it would have been necessary because we pretty much hit all of the like highlights and bullet points.
It's so crazy.
Let me phrase it this way. This is my personal opinion. I did not enjoy watching it. Like, it was fine. But I agree with what you said earlier, which is that if this had been a drama written for CBS or whatever network this was, I don't remember. If this had just been a drama written with all new characters, it probably would have felt a little bit more believable. But when you take characters that have been beloved for decades and decades, and then you put them in situations that feel unnatural to them as characters, it's hard to kind of overcome that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And another thing I'll say is like, because I also did not love the CW Nancy Drew show.
Okay.
Mostly because like it was definitely like very CW. It was very Riverdale, but they did stay true to like the character of Nancy Drew. Like, she's insensitive. She does not give a crap about the rules. She's going to be breaking and entering and stuff. Like all this stuff. It was very good, but like there are other characters that weren't as everything. But with this, it's like the only thing Nancy about her is that she solves mysteries. Because the thing about Nancy is that Nancy would never be a cop. Do you know how many times she's breaking and entering and just does not... people are like, oh, don't do this. And she's like, I'm going to do it because I'm going to solve the case. Nancy could never be a cop. I'm sorry. Yeah. And, like, the only thing Nancy about it is, like, the names of stuff. And I do feel like if they were going to do a good Nancy show, they wouldn't kill off Bess!
Yeah, it was just
Come on!
I feel like
you can't have George without Bess.
I just
you have to have Bess and George.
Yeah, they're the characters of Bess and George are created, in my opinion, as such because they're two sides of a similar coin. They see the world kind of the same way, but they react to it in completely different ways. And I think that balance of like dynamic is really important because all three of them, when you have like Nancy, George, and Bess, bring different things to the table, but they're all in pretty much agreement about like how things should be. And I think that when you take out 1/3 of this really important character dynamic that this world is kind of built on, it feels wrong. It feels unbalanced now.
Yeah. It's like, I'm trying to come up with another example of something. If you were trying to make a Star Wars show, like about the rebellion post the originals, and you were like, okay, yeah, let's just kill off Han Solo. Where?
Yeah.
Like, no, you have to have Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Luke Skywalker. You gotta have all three of them, okay? And without all three, it's gonna be crazy.
It just feels wrong, you know?
It does. It's like doing a Lord of the Rings thing and killing off Pippin and having just Merry being there. It's like, what is Merry just alone? No, like unless it's like, you know, in Return of the King. Lord of the Rings lore, but like you have to have Merry and Pippin, okay? It's Merry and Pippin. You can't just be like, oh, we're just gonna do this, and this character, yeah, they're dead now, so
yeah.
Without any like build up either. It wasn't like this character dies somewhere in the story. It's like, oh, they're already dead, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Also, another thing that I think, maybe this is just me being nitpicky, but I feel like we have so many cop/detective movies and shows set in New York City. We did not need another one.
We do, yeah.
Nancy's not even from New York City.
No, she's from Illinois.
And so, like, transplanting her into
Chicago.
Yeah. And so
they
transplanting
her
her
in
into
Chicago like the Pope. You know? Sorry, I can't get over the Chicago Pope, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, she's from Illinois.
It just seems so weird because it's like they're trying so hard to push that she's like a city girl now. But part of Nancy's charm is that she's not. She's not a city girl.
Yeah, and also, like, it's basically like universal in a lot of the Nancy Drew things that River Heights is in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the only time I've seen Nancy not live in River Heights is in the CW show where it's Horseshoe Bay that she lives in, which I don't know why they did that, but at least the vibes are decent. But, like, it's not River Heights. But, like, if you're going to have River Heights, like, why is she in New York? Like,
and River Heights must be, like, right outside of New York in this world, because how does she go visit her dad and Hannah that quickly?
Mm-hmm. It was weird. But, like, it just...
Also, why does Ned suck so bad?
Yeah! Why would you write an article about your girlfriend without talking to her about it first? Like, you just be like, hey, I'm just noticing this was a really weird thing that you did, and I'm supposed to be writing an article about it. I thought I'd let you know. But apparently, no, he just wrote it, and Nancy's like, wow, you, like, cost me my job and everything. I'm like, oh my god, Ned would never do this to Nancy.
It's also crappy of Bess, too, you know, post-mortem, when we find out that, like, Bess and Ned had this conversation about a really important and invasive, intimate thing that Nancy was just not privy to at all. I'm sorry, but if I found out that my best friend said something like that to my boyfriend and they both kept it from me, I would be so hurt.
I would be like, it would have been nice for me to know.
Yeah, it's like, even if the answer was no, like, that's totally fine. But, like, the fact that the conversation happened without Nancy even knowing, like, Nancy's knowledge is so crazy to me.
Like, if they weren't dating, like, obviously it wouldn't be a problem, but they were!
Yeah.
And, like, why is Ned a shitty boyfriend? Sorry, Kachowy boyfriend. Why is he so bad in this?
I guess that's why they broke up.
My Ned would never do this to Nancy.
This is true.
My Ned would, and my Bess would never do this to Nancy.
You're right. Exactly.
God. It's just, it's like, if it weren't Nancy Drew, it probably would have been a campy, cheesy detective show that would be fun to watch as like a guilty pleasure show, you know? Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, there's like nothing Nancy Drew there. And like, there wasn't, not even like the detective work was as Nancy Drew as it should have been. Like,
Yeah.
Because what Nancy's always doing is like snooping and stuff. And there's like one part where she was actually like snooping, and that was when the guy who was a suspect was looking at the wines, and she looked in his drawer and saw the little doodle, which was also very funny because like she just happens to look at this one drawer and sees the doodle and is like, haha, I got this now.
Yeah.
But like it was,
it felt like
it wasn't great.
It felt like a shadow. It felt like it was Nancy Drew inspired, not Nancy Drew adapted. And I think
it doesn't even feel like inspired.
Okay, that's fair. I think it feels too much like NCIS or something that we've seen a million times before. Yeah. Not to say that those shows are bad, but just that we already have them, you know?
We already have them, yeah. If it's Nancy Drew, you know, like, yeah.
That's all I have to say about this, I think.
Yeah.
I appreciate this being asked of us. I really hope that whoever requested this doesn't love this with all their heart. And now you're very sad because we eviscerated it.
It's like, I'll say, like, the good things about it are probably, like, the Pickles was funny. George is gay. And they did the electric slide at the end.
Yeah.
And Carson was bald like a golf ball.
Yeah, Carson was bald like a golf ball. And also it's a girlfriend that looks Nancy's age. I don't actually.
Yeah, that was really weird. My Carson would never.
It's
my
true.
Carson would never. My Carson would never.
Carson, if Carson was gonna date a lady, it would be a lady his own age.
Exactly. That was just really weird. Yeah. But anyway, like, that's all I have to say good about it. And like it exists. I was gonna say it exists, but like it barely exists. There's like one copy of this that we can find. So
yeah. But like, thanks, Reddit.
Yeah. But wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, yeah. I am going to compare it a little bit with the CW show, is like, because like the CW also does not have, like, at least the thing that the CW gets right is Nancy mostly as a character, with how she snoops, she does her stuff, she does not give a crap of what anybody thinks about her. She's going to solve this mystery, okay? She's going to get in trouble about it and stuff. And also, like, another character I loved in it was Ned. Or Nick, as they call him this. Who, by the way, perfect boyfriend. Okay, perfect man. Except for his tragic backstory thing, which doesn't even count in my opinion. But, like, this show's Ned versus the CW's Ned? Are you kidding me? Like, the CW Ned would never betray his girlfriend like that. He would never do that. And he would be like, oh, you're asking me to be a sperm donor? Let me talk to my girlfriend first. Yeah. Okay, let me talk to my girlfriend together, who I love. Like, the CW Ned is a very nice person and a good person. Very husband type. This guy? Oh, let me just blast my girlfriend in the newspaper. Oh my god, Ned! No, that's not Ned. That's not Ned. To me! Okay, I'll stop ranting.
No, it's okay. I get it.
Listen, every adaptation of Ned has to be like the perfect boyfriend who would do anything for Nancy, okay? Yes. This guy? Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm glad they're
I don't
not
like
together.
him. Yeah. Like, no, that sucks. Treat Nancy better. And also, Nancy in the games, treat Ned better. Or Ka-chow, sorry.
Okay. Well, any final thoughts?
Are we gonna rank it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Sure we can.
2.
I'm gonna say 3. It's watchable, but it's not Nancy Drew.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
So, yep. That's all.
There we go. Well, thank you again for listening. Thank you for...
what a crazy episode.
Yeah. It was a good time. Like, I enjoyed watching it, but...
It was, yeah. I don't even think some of the books, like the Nancy Drew files, have this many twists in them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Like, crazy stuff. And also the Nancy Drew files wouldn't kill off Bess! I'm gonna scream real quick into a pillow.
Go ahead. Cool.
Why did you kill off Bess? Oh my god! Anyway.
Remember that if you would like us to talk about something Nancy Drew themed or Nancy Drew related or Nancy Drew adjacent even, let us know. Because we'll do it, as you can tell. We'll do it and we'll give you our honest thoughts. Thank you everybody for listening. I hope you have a good rest of the day. We'll be back in a few weeks with a game related episode, so look forward to that. And
I will not be happy in this one.
and stay sleuthy, as they say. Bye bye, everybody.
Sleuthy.